Hey guys, so here's the latest update, and it's kind of shocking. There may be an additional Meyouandtheblendedcrew member in the works. Now, some of you may not be aware, but we had a passing of sorts. Dominique's two little hamsters passed away a couple weeks ago, and we've been mourning the loss of those two little buggers. And they were so adorable, and she loved the heck out of them. But their time had come, and so we said goodbye to them a couple weeks ago, and the house has been just a little bit emptier than it was. And you know, my kids both have been bugging me for a dog forever, and I've been putting it off, saying, you know, we need to, you know, get a house, get situated, give the dog a proper space that it deserves. You know, being in a New York City apartment is not all it's cracked up to be, you know, but we are blessed. We have, you know, a very spacious apartment, so I don't really think it's a major concern. So I'm heading over to the Sean Casey Animal Rescue in Brooklyn, New York, and I have been making some unannounced visits over the last few days, and I've managed to find a furry little friend who I think really fits the bill. It's not a quote-unquote rescue dog. Hasn't been abused or beat or anything like that, or mistreated, but it was picked up by from a breeder by a person who quickly found out that he had other priorities, and so he turned him into the animal shelter and paid a pretty hefty fee for the dogs from a breeder. And for me, it's really not so bad, because I'm just paying for the services of the rescue center. I'm not paying a breeder direct, so it's a substantial discount in cost, but that's not really the major issue. The thing is to find the right animal for our family, and so we're looking for friendly, not aggressive. You know, this is the first time that my kids have ever been not exposed to a dog. They've played with many dogs, but to have and to hold of their own, this could be it. So I'm going to take you on this adventure with me. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to visit the animal shelter now, and maybe even take it home with me. I may leave it and pick it up later. It depends. But come with me. Let's see how it goes. Hey everybody, welcome back.
Hi, I'm Mari.
And I'm Randy. We have missed you guys. Took about a 2-week hiatus, and we've just been gearing up for end of the year with the kids in school. Work has been a bit overwhelming, but we got some good stuff for you today.
Yes, so we took a little bit of a break because we had been vlogging weekly for over a year now. So we kind of had to take a little bit of time off to just kind of adjust and
It's been a lot going on.
Yes.
And today we're going to share one of those major things with you, and that was a little discovery of a friend who we will picture right here. Bling! This little bugger, well, let me just back up and say that,
yes.
Okay, so a couple of Fridays ago, I was heading into work, my afternoon shift on the ambulance. I'm a paramedic, and I was heading into work, and I had about an hour to kill. Mari knew nothing about this, and none of this was planned, but I had some downtime, and so I stopped at a local animal shelter that's a few blocks away from my job, and I've passed there a number of times. And one thing that I have done in the past that I haven't done in a very long time is just walk a dog. They have a lot of dogs in the shelter, and they get picked up. You know, people come in and take them and claim ownership of them, and sometimes they're just there and they need help walking all these dogs. So I went up there unplanned and said, I'm going to kill some time. Let me just walk a dog or two. And I walked up, and as soon as I got to the window, I saw about 16 dogs in different cages, and they were all screaming, barking, bah, 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 bah. And 2 of those dogs were just chilling, mellow as can be. And they were both a Cocker Spaniel breed of dog, and they were both just sitting there staring at me. And I said, I want to walk that guy right there. And it turns out that they were siblings. And long story short, I ended up taking them for a walk, and this is what the walk looked like.
So every day I would get a little video clip of Randy walking this dog. At the time his name was Bam Bam. And I already knew what was happening.
No, it wasn't a plan. It wasn't a plan.
I already knew what was happening. He was falling in love with Bam Bam.
It's true. This dog was so freaking adorable. And, well, in case you're not aware, we recently had a loss. We had a death in the family. 2, in fact.
No, we didn't announce it, actually.
Didn't announce it.
No.
So, well, my kids lost their 2 hamsters that they've had for over a year.
Yes.
Peaches and Peanut. No, not Peaches.
Peaches passed away.
Pepper and Peanut. Were the 2 hamsters that we lost. And so we were seeking. We weren't really actively seeking anything, but I felt it was appropriate to find a replacement. So
a replacement? I thought we said we weren't going to do hamsters anymore.
Okay, so we were not getting a hamster, and I thought we were going to level up. I took it upon myself to make this plan. So Marty knew nothing about this. So I went and walked the dog, again, with no intention of taking it, but I did. I fell victim. I fell in love with that little guy. And so
one day I come home and I find a puppy. And he was adorable.
King Cole's the only one with his hair.
Oh my. Taylor, he's not going to bite. He's friendly.
Oh, your ears are all wet from your water bowl.
We should name him Water Bowl.
No, it's Bam Bam.
Why is he sad?
He's not. He's happy. He's jumping up and down. You see his tail wagging? You see his tail wagging? That means he's happy.
Congrats.
He's, a Cocker Spaniel, very, very friendly, very smart, liquid brown eyes that, that
Just
sprinkle fairy dust every time he blinks.
Heart.
So, I could see why anyone would fall in love with Bam Bam. However, one thing is, I didn't like the name. And 2, I didn't know enough about the breed. I had a dog before, and part of me...
You had many.
Well, I had many. I didn't come home and find a dog. I already knew it was happening. And I expressed how I felt about it. I was not ready to have a dog. One reason... I had my dog Catalea when I lived in Long Island, and when we moved here to Brooklyn, she couldn't adjust. She was a shelter dog that had been abused before, and she was used to quiet, silence, and space. And living in the city, you have sirens, you have people walking up and down the hallways.
Motorcycles, lots of loud vehicles.
And so she was becoming very anxious, and she was regressing. So the move was no good for her, and I had to find her a home in Long Island.
Which we were lucky to do.
Yes, she's with my friend, and my friend has a dog that's like her brother, and so my friend actually approached me and asked if she could stay with her, so we can still see her, we can still spend time with her, but she's no longer here with me. So I felt a little weird about bringing another dog when I couldn't keep my dog, my original dog, and I almost felt like I was betraying her or so I don't know, it's a weird feeling, but I just felt like I was betraying her by bringing another dog.
Well, that was the situation. We've been here for a little over 2-year lease, and we signed it a little over 2 years. And I didn't think it was going to create such an issue for Marty. I knew it was a little bit delicate, but I thought we could work through it together. So I took it upon myself, and I went and got all the goodies that we needed. I got the dog food. I got the not the cage, but the.
We got that. We got a doggy cam.
Doggy camera.
Installed in our ceiling.
So what is the a crate? A crate for the dog. Got a bed for the dog. Got the food. Got the food container. Got the toys. Got chew toys. Got everything.
Yeah, you went all out.
I did everything that a dog would need. The baggies, the leash, the collar, you name it, everything. I went soup to nuts and I went crazy. I was in love with this dog. And as you can see in this next clip, my kids, I brought them along and let them walk the dog.
Yay! No, not in there. Just around the block.
Come on, Theo.
Let's have a race.
No, we're not racing, no, because I don't want him going in the street. Keep him away, Dee Dee. He's over it. When we went to go pick him up, and here's a photo in front of the animal shelter on the day that we picked him up.
So, part of my reservations about having an animal is that I feel you have to understand the breed in order to understand the animal. And we clearly did not do our research, or Andy, I almost called you Andy. Randy didn't do his research as far as the breed, and it's a very active breed. Needs a lot of attention, but he can also be a little bit of a bully with kids, and that kind of was going to have to be something that you would have to train the children to be able to give the dog commands, and the dog to respect the children. But that wasn't even my biggest problem. My problem was more of Randy has no time. You're always working, and when you're not working, you're running around with the kids. The kids are very active. They have soccer, they have cheer, they have drama, they have auditions and play dates. So between working and all of the activities with the kids, I didn't see how he was going to have the time to, and this was a puppy, so he's 11 months.
Well, he's 11 months, yeah.
So how to train a puppy, how to train the kids, walk the puppy, give the puppy the adequate amount of attention that it needed. All of these things that a dog requires. It's a huge responsibility. And I felt a little bit resentful because I've been complaining that he has no time. And now comes this puppy that is going to take more time. So I was feeling a certain type of way.
Well, I kind of thought that with a little teamwork that I could make it work. My worst day of the week was really just Tuesday. I'm on an ambulance and I have no way of escaping that. That's every single Tuesday till I die. So the other days are a little bit more flexible, and I thought that I could, if at worst, stop by the house and let the dog out, take him for a walk, and put him back away until, you know, somebody came home in the afternoon, which would be you or Andy. So I thought I could make it work, and we tried.
You sure did. I have to say, you got up every morning at 5 in the morning.
Theoji, you ready? All right, let's go. Let's go.
To walk the dog, exhausted, get the kids ready.
Yeah, I think...
Come in the middle of the day to walk the dog.
I think the biggest problem was the fact that we're in the city, and it's very noisy at times. The borough of Brooklyn, where we live, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of stuff going on besides ambulances and police cars and buses and trucks, and well, we don't hear trains, but you know, there's just in general, even in our building, there's a lot of traffic. People start their day at 4 or 5 in the morning, and as soon as they start coming down the stairway, our dog wakes up and starts barking. There's an intruder, you know, thinking there's an intruder. And even if there isn't, because the walls are kind of thin, you know, you hear a lot of stuff. It was enough to startle him and get him going. And so my day started, unfortunately, at 5 a.m. when it didn't need to. So that definitely beat me up considerably. Having to get up that much earlier. And my days don't always end on time. Usually 11 o'clock. Even when it's just my kids, putting them to bed is oftentimes a battle. My goal is 9:30 asleep bedtime, but they always push back and like, oh no, but I did my homework, I want to sleep later. So my day gets longer and longer, my sleep gets shorter and shorter, and naturally getting to work thoroughly exhausted wasn't good for anybody, especially during evaluation time when I have to write a report on each and every one of my staff members. That was a lot to deal with.
Well, I think that in the first weeks when we got the puppy, you had Dominique had a competition in Jersey,
Yep.
or Pennsylvania, so you were gone pretty much all day, and then the following weekend was Chelsea's graduation, and we had to leave to Connecticut the night before, so it was just kind of like an added thing that we had to now find doggy care. And you know, your pets are like your children. You don't just leave them with anyone. So someone qualified. I don't like to put them in those doggy hotels. Sometimes they get anxious. And this dog became so attached to you, like just so attached instantly, that when Randy left, he would whimper. He would just lay there, be sad.
Yeah.
You couldn't get him to do anything. And it was just, it reminded me a lot of my dog. And it made me, it evoked so many emotions in me, because it really reminded me of Catalea when I first got her, where she wouldn't eat if I wasn't around. She just waited by the door, and Randy's days are so long, and it was just, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair for the animal. It wasn't fair for anyone.
Yeah, so Madi and I sat down and talked it through, and I had to make a very hard decision, which there's a good and a bad side to it. So the good side is that timing could not have been any better. Very good friend of the family, his name is Jacques, lives down the road from us, was actually beginning his hunt for a dog for his mother. And timing was perfect. I caught him before he'd even set foot out the door to start the search, and I invited him over and introduced him to the dog. And by the way, whose name was D.O.G.
No, that wasn't his name.
His
name was Bobby Schmurda.
His name was Bam Bam from the shelter.
No.
And when he came home, we renamed him Yoshi. That lasted 24 hours. And then it became D.O.G.
No, he wanted D.O.G.
D.O.G. was the name.
No, it wasn't.
It was the name.
It was down to Bobby Schmurda.
It was
Or
not Bobby Schmurda. Bobby Schmurda was
Tyrion
never in the
Lannister.
running. It was never in the running. Tyrion Lannister, nobody even knows. No,
it was Tyrion
it was
Lannister.
Not Tyrion Lannister.
There was Baxter. There was
It was
Onyx.
not Baxter. What are you talking about?
There
You're
were
just
other
making up names.
No,
These were not
remember my
names.
mom said you should name him
It
Azawache.
was a joke. All right.
No, it
So
wasn't.
the reality is the name was D.O.G.
No, it wasn't.
I even have a dog tag that said D.O.G.
He bought a dog tag. I don't know
said
why.
D.O.G.
His name
because that was his
D.O.G.
name. So my friend Jacques came by with his son, spent time with the dog last Friday, and left with the dog. And so now he found a wonderful home, still in Brooklyn, still within reach, so we could pay him a visit when the time comes. The bad part is that we don't have a dog anymore.
No, and I feel bad because I think that I think it was the first time that, well, not the first time.
I never had a dog before.
Well, one of the few times that you and I just didn't see eye to eye, and I felt like the bad guy. And I know that it took you a few days. You left the house without giving me a kiss goodbye a couple of times, because I spoke up on this. I think usually when you're in a relationship, you want to make your partner happy, and you just want to agree with things sometimes, even if they go against what you believe in. But I felt very strongly about this one, because I'm an animal lover, and I know at this point in my life, like my kids are older, your kids are still young. My kids aren't in the house, so they're not really able to contribute, and your kids are too young to contribute. So I knew that the bulk of the responsibility was going to be you and me. And one of the things that I told you this, and I resented a little bit, was that you made plans with my free time for something that I didn't ask for. And that was the responsibility of an animal, of a dog. And when I had my dog, I was all in. And it was a lot. You have vet bills, you have, to make sure. My dog had anxiety and allergies and all of these issues. So I'm almost like maybe a little bit traumatized because it was just like so much that it took to get her to where I got her. And then she couldn't adjust to being here, and it broke my heart. I cried for so long that I don't want to be attached to another animal like that. And so we went back and forth with this, and I saw the heartbreak in the kids' eyes, and I feel like, wow, I'm an evil stepmom because I don't want the dog. And I've had to carry that guilt a little bit, but I'm glad that you kind of have assured me a couple of times that you realize that you did bite more than you can chew, and that you do realize that you didn't think it through.
I don't live exclusively, by my heartstrings getting tugged by different people or different things. I am a realist, and I can step outside the box and I can look inside and see, does this make sense? And I was hopeful that I could turn you onto our side and be a willing player in taking care of the dog on Tuesdays, because that's all that I needed.
No, that wasn't all that you needed. No,
you said your piece. You said your piece.
No, you keep saying that, but it's not all that you needed, because there were days when the kids had other things going on. Things were going to pop up.
And I took the dog with me. So we talked it over, and as I said, I stepped outside the box and I looked in and I realized, you know what? Truly, I'm killing myself. This was a huge responsibility, and there were outside influences, outside factors that affected the dog getting along and just waking up at a proper time, and now he's got a very, very good schedule where he can sleep till 8-9 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't disturb or wake up anybody. Here he's barking at 5 a.m. because the neighbors are up. Those are things that are outside of our control. So there were definitely outside influences that had a part to play in it that necessarily didn't work in our favor. So, all things considered, still, I'm not making it any less of a responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. So before just jumping into it, definitely got to plan a little bit better and make sure you have the time to contribute, because the animal has needs. And depending on your situation, your circumstance, where you live, it may affect you negatively as well. So we made a decision. I agreed that it was not the best thing to keep the dog, and we found a wonderful home for him, and he's very, very happy right now, as well as the owners, who are again friends of the family, and we're going to be paying them some visits. So they can count on that, because that dog was just too cute, too awesome, and he was my little shadow for a good 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, he was under your feet all the time.
Yeah.
You ready for a run? Let's go.
He was also really smart, but he was bullying Mateo a little bit, and he would steal Mateo's food. He was sneaky. I could tell. I could see his personality, and it was just, oh my God, he's adorable. He's adorable. He's smart, and he's tenacious, and he would try to wear you down. So, teaching him how to walk, without pulling and all these things. I was trying to work with him, but then I saw that I would get attached, and it was something that I don't know, I wasn't ready for. But it was something that we had to discuss, and that that we kind of disagreed, and then later on came to terms with. But how do you feel now about it? You're okay, right?
I'm happy that I can sleep when I'm supposed to sleep, and I'm happy that I don't have to be out in the pouring rain, because the first 3 days that we had him were pouring rain, so I'm trying to walk him in the rain, and he's soaked and I'm soaked, and it's another responsibility that I took on, and I was dealing with as best as I could, but it was a lot. So I'm good.
Yeah, so no more doggy, no more pets.
Oh, I know. It's kind of a bit of a bummer when we had him here, but we gave it a go. He's
in a good home, and he's got
in a
friends.
good home, so I feel good.
He's with other dogs, and that's the best way to train a dog, when you have a dog, when it's with other dogs, because now he's the newcomer. He's going to adhere to their rules.
Chelsea did the same thing with her dog.
Mm-hmm.
Brought him to her dad, and He
Yeah.
had dogs, and so the three of them worked it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. That's probably a good way if you have that opportunity, if you have that luxury of space and means of managing. Because man, big dogs, whew, that's a lot of work. This was a medium-sized dog. He wasn't too much, but
Yeah. So
it was
you
a good
know,
experience. It was definitely a lot of learning for me. But I'm glad I had the opportunity.
Yeah. No, Bobby Schmurda's in a good house.
DOG.
Guys, if you don't follow us on Instagram, find us on Instagram because we have some announcements coming out.
Oh yeah, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, so we took a hiatus from YouTube, but we still remained a little bit active on Instagram. And so for the month of July, we're planning maybe a meetup. So we're going to be posting information on our Instagram. I guess we can post here on YouTube as well. But keep an eye out. If you don't follow us on Instagram, we're Meyouandtheblendedcrew on Instagram also.
That's right. So don't lose touch. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell down there so you can be made aware when those videos and those clips are released and aired on both YouTube. And subscribe to our Instagram channel and you will be informed.
Yes, if you're in New York in July.
New York, in the New York City area, Manhattan. Not necessarily. The first one is in Manhattan, right?
Yes.
It's gonna be in Manhattan.
I think it's going to be in the city. But like I said, we'll keep you posted and tell a friend.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Up. Oh, you're tired. Look at you, out of breath. Out of breath. Look at you. Out of breath.